Last night, basketball got off to a fun start. Greg Cody inexplicably swaggered in here today on behalf of North Carolina, that poor downtrodden sad sack franchise that needs the defense because it is such a great underdog. Greg Cody stormed in here today and said, even though he didn't know who San Diego State was, North Carolina vindicated after West Virginia's governor came after them.
Right. They were maligned. They're not that bad. They're better than West Virginia. And everybody was acting like West Virginia was wronged. Oh, my God.
That wasn't the game last night. That wasn't the game to be talking about last night.
Okay, it wasn't, because the Alabama State game, the St. Francis Alabama State game, was more exciting. However, I do want to just linger on this for a second because it's the fastest that any one of our takes has ever aged well. Like, yesterday we're like, oh my God, Governor of West Virginia, get over yourself. Like, we're splitting hairs, blah, blah, blah. This is why North Carolina should be in. This is why they are in, blah, blah, blah. Like, 5 hours later, North Carolina just blows out San Diego State. All of the takes that we had yesterday aged very well, and I would like to pat ourselves on the back for it.
That never happens.
If North Carolina lost, Jim, it might be a little tricky today. It might be a little tricky. We might be walking some things back. But they left no doubt. They won. We can all move on now.
Worthy.
Hopefully.
Chris, do you have a stat of the day related to this?
Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day.
So you did. You had one immediately ready. I was surprised by that.
Start of the day. It is your start of the day.
Stunning how good you've gotten at this job that quickly.
It is your start of the day.
Give him
Stat of the day is presented by Miller Lite. You will never believe who sent me this stat. Against San Diego State last night. By the way, San Diego State, the team that led the nation in field goal percentage defense. North Carolina became the first team in NCAA history to score 95 or more points, to shoot 50% or better from the field, to shoot 50% or better from three, to shoot 85% or better from the line, all in one game. North Carolina did this last night.
Also, West Virginia, was complaining so much about this. They didn't even realize their head coach was leaving for another school. Darian DeVries got hired by Indiana yesterday. So really rough. Exactly why I said if you're a player on this team, you're like, all right, pump the brakes, hang on a second. Because now there's more important things going on, and everyone's been distracted by this stupid tournament stuff.
I think the governor of West Virginia needs to sign an executive order to prevent that coach from leaving his university. It's an outrage. It's a crime.
Was it this guy that gave you that stat?
Yeah, that was him.
Thank you,
back
Taylor.
to the Alabama State game. So, Dan, I don't know if you caught this, but the game ended on a Hail Mary pass. It was so cool. Alabama State, the player, I think his name's Micah Simpson, he was a middle school quarterback, launches the ball across the court, gets deflected off of a couple Alabama State players. One of them gets it, puts in the layup. They win the game. It was absolutely electric. It was such a fun, final 4 minutes of that game. And, again, March Madness delivers.
Are you guys ready for what we're about to gorge on this weekend and in coming weekends? Because this has even gotten Tony's attention. Like Tony can sit out. Tony can be a little too cool for school on some of our conversations. Like he's not interested in some of the hockey stuff. Pretends, but is faking it poorly. But college basketball, March Madness, has grabbed him by the throat, and it starts. Basically, the thing about this that's so great is just, hey, look, sports. Everywhere, morning, afternoon, and night, and there'll be a lot of bad games in there. And God Almighty, everyone's going to shoot 36%. You've been spoiled by the pros. Trust me when I tell you, some of this is going to be very hard to watch.
The funny thing is about March Madness, the individual games of college basketball, most of the time, kind of suck.
Give me the last 5 minutes.
But when you put them all together, 64 of them happening within a 2-day window, all of a sudden it becomes magical. Alabama State, who nobody could even tell me what their mascot is, all of a sudden...
Hornets.
Okay, outside of somebody who watched the game. They throw a pass, gets bobbled 8 times, all of a sudden the layup goes up, everybody's an Alabama State fan. Nothing is better. Nothing produces more amazing moments with such bad basketball than March Madness. It's incredible. I love it.
It is. It just really is just your
white guys.
You're opening up.
Well, you really didn't watch the Alabama State game.
No. But historically,
you're gonna say opposite. You're gonna say opposite white guys.
You know, white guys bring the magic.
Thank you. Backdoor cut, Princeton.
That's the secret sauce to March Madness. It's the white guys with the ill-fitting uniforms against the teams with the good
Elbow
uniforms.
jumper.
And brick. Not as many white guys. That's finally someone had the balls to say it. It's the white guys.
The best zone defense you've ever seen.
2-3.
So well coached.
Backdoor cuts. Put it on the poll.
Shooter!
They're all shooters, but they never make it.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is the secret sauce to March Madness white guys?
It's a loose ball. Get it.
Admit it. Admit it. Deep down in your heart, you know. All the great moments. All of them. All of them. All the memorable upsets.
Not true.
All the great shots. Somewhere there.
No.
Somewhere framing the moment.
Not true.
Is a white guy.
Now, there can be an accent. This is not an absolute. The whole thing.
You're fixated on Melo? I'm at McNamara.
I will say one of my favorite things about March Madness is there's always a main character every year. There's always the one guy who gets, like last year was I can't remember his name because
the dude from NC State.
No, not him. He was
that guy
great.
he was a main character.
He was a main character for sure, and that was a great run. But no, I think he played for like Grand Canyon. I honestly can't even remember, but. He ended up getting like a Wingstop deal, and he was the main character for like 2 weeks, and it was wonderful.
Jack
and
Golke.
As soon as this
He was incredible.
ends,
The guy didn't miss. The guy didn't miss.
as soon as the tournament ends, you're like, I can't remember his name.
That
but
guy
for
got-
2 weeks, he
didn't miss
the
for 2
biggest
weeks. It
person
was
in
incredible.
sports.
Yeah, I'm not as into March Madness anymore. It's become apparent to me, like, once I had a team that was actually good, making runs on both ends, on the men's and women's. And I could say this to the pros, too. I generally don't – I'm not a basketball fan, I found out. I'm just like a Heat Hurricanes fan. And without rooting interest there, and I haven't even filled out a bracket. No, like we have NASCAR in town. We have the Miami Open in town. There's plenty of niche sports that I follow more closely that are going on. Like in 20 minutes, there's going to be tennis from Hard Rock Stadium that I'm going to be dialed into. So I think my interests have just changed. But I'm in on the white guys.
Okay, but for the casuals.
Thanks for letting us know that you don't watch March Madness.
Love the white guys. It's a really hard sport to follow, and I follow a lot of sports. And I think in following all these other sports – and with my teams not being good, it's just hard to follow college basketball. Not that you ever need to.
We got it. We got it. You are now all about racing. You're about tennis. You're out on basketball.
No, I'm in on race as well.
But on basketball, you seem professional and college. You're out. Got it. You're in the minority here because this is just a smorgasbord of avalanche of action is what it is. It's stakes. It's throwing into a washing machine and turning it on the maximum speed. Just here's sports. And there are going to be a lot of bad games, but they're playing odds on this. They're going to draw you in the last few minutes. And I don't remember that Gretzky guy's name either, but he was kind of bald. All he did was make jumpers and then signed an NIL deal. No, you know who I'm talking about.
The male pattern
They
baldness?
just said his name, and Dan and
Forgot
I
it.
still don't remember.
Forgot
He had
it.
more of a Billy Donovan V.
Yeah.
It wasn't balding.
Like a Norman Osborn.
He had something. What he had, whether it's Sam Rockwell or someone else, what he had is hair that made me think he couldn't do that during March Madness.
I want to be
Oh,
very
he played
clear.
for Oakland. Yeah,
He's
that
got the
was
Billy
him.
Donovan, right?
Yeah, I want to be very clear. This is comic book Norman Osborn, not Willem Dafoe Norman Osborn. For the record.